Hey everybody, Hunter coming back at you again. Just wanted to do a quick little video here, or actually a tutorial on something. There was a couple questions that I've got about this, and it's actually a good question and a nice subject to touch on. It has to do with scratch building. And, there's a lot of guys out there that, they can't wait to get their hands on some sheet plastic and stuff like that and start building things. And, that's great, but you have to remember that it does take time and it does take practice to get it right. And there's some do's and don'ts in it. And, so I just want to address a few of those concerns for a lot of you guys that may watch my videos. This may be going backward. This is definitely a basic. I won't say that it's a modeling basic. I would call it a scratch building basic. And, but for you guys that are, newer to the hobby, or, just starting to maybe get into scratch building and something like that, I mean, this should help you out a little bit. So we're going to jump right into this. I'm going to pan the camera down here and I'll show you what we're working with, and we'll go from there. Okay. What I have here is a piece of, let's see, what is this? This is 40 thousandths sheet plastic, just plain old white styrene from Plastruck. What a lot of guys would go out and buy if they're getting ready to scratch build something. One of the things that I have seen a lot of people do that is, you can do it, but it's not going to be as accurate as it should be. Just take, for instance, that over here on the side, excuse me, I can't talk here today. I don't know what's going on. Say over on the side of this plastic here, say this distance here, we want to make this 1 inch wide. Now, this is what a lot of guys are going to do. They're going to take a ruler and they're basically going to lay down onto the sheet plastic and mark out, say, 1 inch. So they're going to come over with a pencil and they're going to put a mark at 1 inch. And let me see if I can get the little bit closer here on what we're doing. Maybe give you a better idea of what's going on here. But anyway, and then you go up to this end of it, and you line it up, and they'll take and put a mark. Let's see, we were going 1 inch. They're going to put a mark at 1 inch. And then you take your straight edge, and you basically line it up with those two marks, top and bottom. And they'll take a pencil line and draw down like that. Now, I know a lot of guys that would come back in here at this point in time, and they would lay a hobby knife in here, and they would score this all the way down that line by hand. You can do that. You have to have a very steady hand to be able to do it and make it accurate, or you're going to have to sand after you're done to straighten out the little bit of a wave that's going to be in the plastic. So that is something that I do not recommend you do. When you're laying out your pattern or whatever on your plastic, you want to do it without the pencil. And the reason being is, no matter how sharp that pencil is, it is not going to be thin enough to be accurate, especially when you're talking about something that's going to be in scale. So, to make this very simple and just, like I say, this is just a basic scratch building, basic. That's what it comes down to. Here's a little trick for anybody that wants to do this and make an accurate cut. Okay, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to come in and we're going to mark this at 1 inch. Now, what I do is put a brand new number 11 blade in my hobby knife, and I will come in. And we want to mark that at 1 inch. I will take the knife and just put one little line. Not very much. Just basically putting the point in and sliding it back towards you a little bit at the inch mark. And then what I'll do is I'll come up to the top of that, since we want that to be 1 inch all the way across. and I will mark it the same way, right on the inch. Push the tip in and just pull it back just a little bit. Now, I'm sitting here right now and I can see the marks that I put on there, but an easy way to find out where those marks are so you can do the next step is to take your finger and just kind of run across that right where you put the mark. And what will happen is, I'll bring it up here on the camera, you can see the little mark right there, and you can see the little mark. It's going to be hard on white plastic. Let's see, you can see the little mark right there. That is your 1-inch mark. Now, the next step on that is to take your straight edge and take your knife on your upper mark and lay right into your mark. Right where you made that initial score mark, lay a knife right in there, butt the ruler up against it, and line the one up at the bottom. Come down and drop the knife into that mark right there and make sure that it's lined up. Now that you have it lined up, light pressure and just come down the edge of your straight edge. I make a couple passes in this. I don't try to do it all at one time. And just score that. Just like that. Very easy to do. And you have a very accurate and straight 1-inch wide piece of plastic there. Now, at that point is where you want to stop. Do not snap this off of the sheet yet. Because what you're going to find, if you take your finger, if you're sitting there at your bench right now and you may be doing this, take your finger and run across that line. You will feel a raised edge on both sides of that mark that you've just scored down through there. Now, if you snap that off and say you're building a box or something like that, there's one of two things that's going to happen, and either way is usually bad. You could take the raised part of this piece of plastic and you could actually make that your glue flange and put it on the inside. Well, the problem is with that raised edge, it may kick everything out of square. So instead of having a 90-degree angle, it may not be 90 degrees. If you put it on the outside, which is going to be your finished part of the work, and you don't do anything with this, you're going to have a raised edge. And when you paint it, especially with like reds and blacks and candy colors and stuff like that, it's going to tend to want to pull off of this edge and you're going to see it. You don't want that. So the easy way to take care of this right off the bat is to grab your sanding stick that I have around here somewhere. There we go. And while it's still here, take your sanding stick, lay it down flat, and just basically go right across that line. You're not trying to take a whole bunch of material off. You just want to take that ridge off of there, that raised lip that's on both sides of the line, and just take your finger and run across the whole length of it. If you don't feel that line, that piece of plastic is now as smooth as what it was. And at that point, you just take your plastic, snap it, and now you have a perfectly flat edge here and a perfectly flat edge here. If you were to do that again and come in and want to create, say, a box, you're going to have a perfect edge on there. And that, like I say, it's a very simple thing. It's very basic, but it's a thing that's overlooked by a lot of guys that, they get into scratch building, and I don't think anybody's ever kind of, pointed them in the right direction and just to get them to get their models to come out a little bit better. And this is one of the little tricks that'll do that. So hopefully, that'll help out some of the guys. For some of the guys that may be doing it a different way, give this a shot, and, it'll definitely work. I do that on everything that I do as far as sheet plastic. Every time I cut a piece of sheet plastic, it's done with this same procedure. And in the end, you will come out with a very nice piece, and you won't have those jagged edges on there. So I'm going to let you go on that today. If you got any questions or concerns, just leave me a comment on the video. I'll be more than glad to get back to you. So I've got a few more little tutorials coming up here in the near future, so stay tuned for them, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.